Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are in the middle of our regular MLB betting preview call that we do with Doug Upstone every Thursday. This week we're focusing on the National League, and right now we're going to take a look at the NL Central. Today is May 29th. Doug, thanks for being back with us.
Hi, Peter. Looking forward to talking about this division. There's been a few teams that have done better than expected, and there's some teams that have done poorer than expected, and we've got teams that have done exactly as expected here.
Right. All right, let's review our forecast from our last video. First thing we said was that Milwaukee, the profitability was probably going to slow down a little bit, but we thought they probably still would be profitable, and that turned out to be pretty dead on. They wound up going 10-9 since that video, plus 2.4% ROI, which is a very small profitable return, but still profitable nonetheless. Then we said, Cubs continue to be a good bet against, and they went 8-11, minus 9% ROI, which is not the astronomical return you sometimes will get betting against the Cubs, but definitely a profitable team to bet against since our last video, and that was an accurate call. Then we thought that there might be continued value betting against Cincinnati, and they went 8-10, minus 2% ROI, so that was basically a wash. And then you suggested that maybe we should continue to bet against St. Louis, but that was a very lukewarm recommendation. You thought only slightly. They actually wound up going 11-7 since that video, plus 7.1% ROI. But St. Louis also usually has a very strong home edge, and they actually had 12 home games since that video. They went 3-3, minus 5.3% on the road, but then 8-4, plus 11.8% at home. So what's your take on? Well, let's start with Milwaukee. We had a great read on them in our last video. You think they'll continue to be profitable?
I think the situation is going to continue as it has just been. Okay. So they literally could go either way. So far this month they're 12-14 in the month of May, which was pretty much to be expected. And the weakness area that I see is that, and I think we touched on this last time, is that 3 of their 4 corner positions are not strong. Mm-hmm. They're not very good in terms of hitting at first or at third base. So those are weaknesses, and those are positions that demand hitting. And then also in left field, even though they're getting some production in terms of home runs from Davis, I don't think they're getting enough on-base percentage, which I think curtails what they can possibly do. Also, this is not a big trend for them, mm-hmm. but at the beginning of May, they were second in ERA and bullpen, and they have slowly sunk to 6th. So look at that, it's a little problematic there. Myself, the Brewers, you pick your spots with them. Right.
But still, look at their stats overall. They're still overall number 3 in Major League Baseball on the year in betting. They've been the 3rd most profitable team to bet in baseball, plus 16% ROI. And even since our last video, even with their struggles and their mediocrity, they were still profitable. So is our forecast continued profitability for Milwaukee, even if it's going to be modest?
Yes, that would be the best case scenario, but I could just as easily see them, if it's slightly up, I could also see it being slightly down. Mm-hmm. No strong feeling on them one way or the other, to be perfectly honest.
All right, now let's look at the Cubs. The 3rd worst team in all of baseball to bet on the year, minus 18.7% ROI. Minus 8.9% ROI since our last video. Do we continue betting against them? They do have some pitchers who I don't really like to bet against, though. Travis Wood, that's guys, he's got a good game and he hits well. And Samardzija, of course, always, we can expect a great performance on the mound for him. But do you think we still bet against the Cubs in general?
The only problem with Samardzija, though, he just won for the first time in 17 starts, Peter.
Right.
Now, that hasn't all been his fault, certainly. It's been his teammates that have put him in that position. And I think of those 17 starts, the Cubs only won 4 of those. So, but he's been tremendous. He's been lights out. But chances are he's going to be traded at some time in the not too distant future. So, this offense just isn't very good. They don't score enough runs. They had an opportunity in one of his other starts, I know, where they brought in Rondon as their closer. He walks the first 3 guys, and they end up losing the game in extra innings. They just get in their own way, time and time again. And even though one factor that's really positive about them, in spite of their record, they're only minus 11 in run differential, which should put them realistically maybe 2 or 3 games below 500. But that's just not the case. This is the Cubs. They know how to lose, and they're really good at it.
Yeah, and my sense is, if you just blindly bet against the Cubs, you might wind up losing, but the chance that you lose a lot is very small, in my opinion. But you're more likely to win. The chance that you win a lot is pretty solid. So I think that's probably still a good thing to do. All right, and then let's talk about Pittsburgh for a second. Pittsburgh is a team with an offense that's just not really getting it done. They've been a terrible road team, minus 32% ROI on the road, so a great team to bet against when they're on the road. And they've also been a big under-trender recently, 5-10 over over-under since our last video. Do you think that continues? Pittsburgh has 3 road series coming up before our next video, at the Dodgers, at San Diego, and at Miami.
Yeah, and that's going to continue to be their problem. Again, this offense does not score. I don't see where they're going to be able to generate, and change what they're doing. The guys just aren't hitting.
Mm-hmm.
You got a couple guys that are like Marte that are beat up, and they're pitching, while decent, from time to time, it's still not great. I mean, they just got rid of Wandy Rodriguez. Francisco Liriano's having a poor year. Charlie Morton has not pitched well for them. I'm not sure where Clint Hurdle, their manager, is going to be able to go and find answers. And as you mentioned, especially on the road, they're 7-16 on the road. Boy, I would think you continue to pound against the Pirates, as visitors right now, and as a home bet, probably no better than 50-50.
All right. Is there anything else you want to mention from the NL Central, or do you want to get to the forecast?
I will mention this about St. Louis, and this just started to change from our last call. Is that they've improved quite a bit. Now they've just lost the series to the Yankees, but their offense has picked up. Not great, but it's picked up in general. And one of the things that they deserve credit for is their manager, Mike Matheny, has started to run more with these guys. So he's gotten different players like Wong, and there's Peter Borges, that's the guy I'm trying to think of. They're starting to bunt more. They're starting to slap at the ball more to try and generate more action on the field, and they're running the bases more aggressively. So I think this has all helped this team become better, and that's, goes towards the manager in terms of the productivity here, and that's why they've won so frequently. And I think that trend will generally continue. The problem that I really see, though, with them is they have 28 home runs total, and the National League average is 48, so they're not even close in terms of that, and I think that's what's going to hold them back, even though I still think with their pitching, they can catch the Brewers ultimately.
All right, forecast for the NL Central for the next several weeks. What do you have for us, Doug?
I would continue to play against the Cubs.
Yes.
I don't see any reason not to. The St. Louis Cardinals, I think, will be a play-on team. Mm-hmm. Once again, I've just checked the pitching matchups to make sure they're favorable and that the numbers work for you. I would definitely play against Pittsburgh on the road. And like I said, I'm so on Milwaukee. And so, I have no strong feeling on them one way or the other. Okay, so bet against the Cubs, bet against Pittsburgh on the road, and bet on St. Louis is an official forecast? That is correct. And Milwaukee is a pass? That's correct, too. All right, thanks so much, Doug.